Alright, and so it's Omno Superman again, back with another review for One Piece, chapter 1005 for Demon Child, which instantly starts the hype for Robin, because, God, we all expected it after the end of last chapter, and with this, it's called Demon Child, it kind of has to be about Robin, and a couple things, just to make sure it's out there for the future. Robin is my number one female in One Piece. I would choose, like, if I had to choose a favorite character, I would choose Zoro. But, like, number one woman in One Piece, Robin, 100%. And for, like, the end of the story, I know that Oda has said that most likely the Straw Hats will not end up romantically or anything like that, along those lines, something like that. In my head, I have the ship of Robin and Zoro after what happened on Thriller Bark. If they don't end up together, I'm gonna be confused. I picture it being like Shaki and Rayleigh, a relationship similar to that, but still, if they're not together at the end of it, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I would totally settle for Frankie and Robin though. Like I would settle for that for sure. But I would prefer Zoro and Robin. But that's all right. For this chapter though, God, the chapter was sweet. I loved all of it, like always. Like we just start off with Sanji kind of getting his ass kicked, but that's just the way it goes. The fact that some of the enemies kind of want to fall in love with him because they believe he is just such a man, and then he and then he calls for help for Nico Robin, which just confuses all of them. It was just hilarious and it was great, but it is improvement for Sanji, because if you go back to Whole Cake Island, Sanji refused to ask for help, and that just caused a whole bunch of issues. Now he is purposefully asking for help from Robin, so that is growth from Sanji, which is great. And like after he asks for help, you just get little snippets throughout all the other fights. Man, it was great, because you just get to see Drake versus Apu. Can't really tell what's going on, but clearly they're still fighting. Apu's doing whatever his fucking sound move is called. That Chopper doing Chopper stuff. Heat, I'm pretty sure that guy's name is Heat. Let's just calling him pathetic, which fits because he's one of the kids pirates. Yeah, he's one of the kids pirates. So him being similar to his Captain Kidd and calling Sanji pathetic makes sense. We get to see Beppo and Penguin. For some reason, not Sachi though, but it is like a small little panel, so I guess that makes sense. Most likely they're all together. I'm just glad we get to see him, because again, we don't see him very often. Then there's Marco and King, which is just sweet. Like, once that fight gets animated, that should be badass. If you're not watching the anime at the moment, I would recommend it, because it is top tier, and like, it's just making everything better. Like, I love reading the manga every week. Whenever it comes out, every week, every other week, whatever. There's no break next week, so it'll be next week for sure. But the anime is weekly all the time. They almost never take breaks unless it's the new year, but it's just the way it goes. Everything takes a break at that time. But they're expanding on everything. Like the Odin versus Prime Whitebeard fight, so much better in the anime than in the manga. I still liked it in the manga, but anime was better for sure. But back to all the fights and stuff. You just see Jinbei chilling with Who's Who, Frankie and Sasaki chilling. I mean, obviously they're fighting, but they're not like, no one's dead, so it's no big deal. And man, it's just all great. And then there's Nami and Usopp. Usopp spots the cat with the eye, which may lead to them using it to their advantage in the future. I don't know, but man, then we get to the main part of everything, and this is where Black Maria is just like tormenting Sanji. It's like, nah, I lied to you. I'm not gonna let you get away, which makes sense because like she is one of the bad guys for this, at least at the moment. Based on how everything's going, I don't picture her switching sides. The guys that she has trapped, I picture them switching sides. Like they'll be rescued by Robin and then just fall in love with Robin, which, valid. But another like a growth thing for Sanji is when he says he doesn't want to hurt a lady's fist, so his color of armament haki is going soft. To me, that means that his armament haki is so good. If he were to use it and Black Maria were to punch him, he would hurt her fist. And that's why he doesn't use it, because he refuses to hurt women. And like, obviously he's getting his ass kicked by Black Maria, but the fact that his haki is that strong, I think that's badass. Like, people need to remember that part of this chapter for me, because like I know some people don't like the fact that Sanji's just being a bitch and getting his ass kicked, but this proves that his haki is really strong, and like he has future sight haki that was confirmed in Whole Cake Island, and then he has this, so you gotta remember those feats for Sanji because they still count. And then the moment we all wanted to see is Robin spank Black Maria. I guess, this isn't what I had pictured in my head, but it's no big deal. We'll accept it. Which is just sweet, because it just proves once again how strong Robin is. She hasn't done much recently, but we can't forget that she is the demon child, Nico Robin, and is still really strong. And that's just the way it goes. Like, we have to remember that, and they're gonna prove it here, which I look forward to. And then we just had classic Brook. Brook has some of the best entrances, just because of what his ability is, the humming sword style. I don't know if that's how it's put, but that's how I'm wording it, because he is the humming swordsman. I know it has some special name, but that's okay. But his entrances are just sweet, because he's like, oh, I already cut him. God, going back to Thriller Bark again, like it fits. Like he fought a spider in Thriller Bark 2, saving Frankie and Robin at the time. Man, there are so many similarities to this arc in Thriller Bark. It's kind of unreal. But then, when Brook's like, spooky monsters. God, that was hilarious to me. Because he is a walking skeleton. And he's scared of these random gifters just because they look weird. And they are like lizard people, so it's kind of valid. But he is a walking skeleton. So it's just hilarious to me. But then Robin got her most badass moment of the chapter. And that's where Black Maria is like, no, you can't get away, Sanji. She's like, is that going to be your last will? Just badass little moment. I'll make sure to have a photo of that here because it was just sweet. Thanks, Sanji. Sanji just immediately reverts back to his old hard-eyed self, and he's just good to go. Don't gotta worry about it. And then we really just start setting up more stuff for the future. And then we go back to Yamato, who wasn't apparently trying to fight anything. They just noticed the little rat, which they had told us is the Marys. They tell us about the Marys, a security force for Kaido around the island. Which, of course, means their position was given away. And then Momonosuke gets to do what quite a few of us would like to do. Which is just hilarious. And man. And then it makes sense that they just beat up all the bad guys. I don't know if they're gifters or just henchmen. Let's call them henchmen. Yeah, they just get to beat up all the henchmen and run away. We don't know what'll happen, of course. And then we get to the end to where it just sets up another big fight with Jack, who's clearly been recovered because somebody taped his horn back on. after it got cut off. But he's like, nah, Black Maria, you don't stand a chance against the Akazai 9. And Black Maria gets offended, but it's like, nah, this works out. Where Black Maria shows her creepy ass looking weapon. Like, I know there's some historical, I don't know if it's historical or, just made up, but there is some story behind the weapon. It's still super creepy though. But then it shows Black Maria kind of topless. I don't know how that's gonna play out in any of the future fights, but the fact that Brook just blushes is just like, oh, it's just hilarious to me. Like, Brook doesn't have any cheeks, but he can still blush. And man, I'm just hyped for the future, because there's so much stuff that has to happen. Like, so many fights. I'm hoping a lot of them don't get, like, off-screen. But that goes back to the anime. Like, if it shows one or two panels in the manga, the anime is supposed to elongate it. Elongate, it's probably not the right word. The anime is supposed to look further into it to give us more information similar to the Odin versus Whitebeard fight, which again, like, if you didn't watch the anime, I would recommend it because that was sweet. And with this, like, there's currently 4 recent mysteries, and we just don't know what's going to happen, and they haven't answered anything. Like, we still need to get Kaido's hybrid form. We need to figure out who the Shadow is with Akazai 9. That one may be soon, now that we know Sanji and Jack are both on the way to see the samurai, so that one could be the next chapter. But I mean, Kaido's hybrid form, like, that was 2 full chapters ago, and we got nothing, no rooftop, no nothing. We have no idea. Like 7 or 8 chapters ago, we figured out that Yamato can transform. We don't know what they can transform into, so I'm still curious about that. And Orochi. We are under the assumption that Orochi is dead purely just based off of the panels and stuff like that. But because of his mythical devil fruit, the Yamanoto no Orochi, or whatever it's called, he can't be dead. Like, no way. I mean, he could, but, like, if I had to guess, I would say he's not. So that remains a mystery of when is Orochi going to come back. And it could be that, like, everything, like, ties in together, because Yamato is still running away, and they don't, castle-wise, I don't know where Yamato is in comparison to, like, the Red Scabbards and stuff like that. But if the assumption is that Hiyori is the Shadow with the Red Scabbards, and Sanji and Jack are on the way, if they get there, Hiyori would probably run away and not be part of the fight. That could lead to her running into Orochi, and because Hiyori is on record saying that she wants to kill Orochi, which is one of the other reasons I don't think Orochi's dead. Like, so many people want to get revenge on Orochi, to where, like, if Kaido is just the one who kills him 9 chapters ago or whatever, then so like, it doesn't matter. Like, all that other stuff came up. I think it's called, like, a Chekhov's gun. If it gets mentioned in a story, then it should have meaning later on in the story. Like, it shouldn't get mentioned and then just never matter again. I'm pretty sure it's called Chekhov's gun. Man. But anyways, there's a new chapter coming out next week, March 7th. I am hyped for it, and I'm just looking forward to it. Like, everything's so good. Man, I'm looking forward to it. That's all I got. Well, if you watch this, I appreciate it. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Later, y'all.